We saw in the last video how differential equations represent family of curves and how to obtain them. Beyond only geometrical figures, differential equations are also useful when we want to model a physical phenomena. A differential equation contains all the information about the behavior of the system and also predicts what would happen under certain conditions. Every state of a system is covered in one of the particular solutions to a differential equation. It's the job of the arbitrary constants to shape up the equation in every possible variation. Physical phenomena ranging from simple spring mass systems and pulleys and projectiles to much more complex systems like the orbits of planets in the solar system or even the description of electrons in an atom. Everything can be represented by differential equations. The solutions to these differential equations tell us everything about the states that the system can take and gives us a robust description of reality. Differential equations are really at the heart of physics. And with that dreamy introduction that I recorded last night, half asleep, let us start solving differential equations. We will start simple with first order and first degree differential equations. This is what we will be looking at for the next handful of videos, and after that we will start with second order differential equations. For the first type of equations, we have variable separable equations. In these, as the name suggests, you can separate the variables out and integrate to simply get your answer. For example, let us say we have the differential equation dy over dx is equal to x squared plus 2 divided by y. In this equation, as you can see, we can separate the variables out, y on the left hand side and x on the right hand side. So we just cross multiply y dy is equal to x squared plus 2 dx. So we have all the y terms on one side, the left hand side, and all the x terms on the other side, the right hand side. Now all that's left to do is to integrate this equation. So y integrates to y squared over 2 is equal to x cubed divided by 3 plus 2x plus c. And now you will say, why do we have only one constant? We have integrated twice. Why don't we have two constants? Well, a constant plus a constant is, guess what? A constant. So instead of writing it twice, we have essentially combined the two constants for the y side and from the x side and made a single constant, capital C. And more importantly, since we have a first order differential equation, we should only have one constant in the end result. Having two constants in the end result would imply that we had started with a second order differential equation. And that is why you have to necessarily combine the two constants. Not because it looks neat or something, but because that's the right way. Okay, so let us look at another example of a variable separable differential equation. We have dn divided by dt is equal to minus lambda n. Some of you might be familiar with this differential equation. This is the first order differential equation for radioactive decay. Well, the actual radioactive law says that dn divided by dt is proportional to n. That is, the rate of change of the number of undecayed particles in any chamber is proportional to the number of undecayed particles left in the chamber. That is, if you begin with n and if you have a rate dn by dt at the beginning, then after some time, when you have say half the particles, the rate of the decay would also reduce to half its original value. Also, instead of having y and x, this time we have n, the number of undecayed particles left in the chamber, and t, the time. What we have here is a proportionality constant known as the decay constant. The negative sign says that the rate is decreasing with time. So this first order differential equation is of the variable separable type, and we know how to solve it. We begin by separating the n's on one side and the time part of the equation on the other side. So we have 1 by n dn is equal to minus lambda dt. Now we have to integrate this equation, and 1 by n is log of n is equal to minus lambda t plus a constant, the constant of integration, and remember, only one constant. Now I would like to modify this constant into this log of n naught. This is just another constant, and it is just, you can say, a fancy way of writing this. But this fancy way helps us to simplify this equation further. We have log n is equal to, you can write the first term as log of e to the power minus lambda t plus log of n naught. Now we can combine these terms. Log a plus log b is log ab. So we can write this as log of n is equal to log of n naught e to the power minus lambda t. Taking the antilog of both sides, we get n is equal to n naught e to the power minus lambda t. And this equation is the equation for radioactive decay. This n naught is the arbitrary constant that we are supposed to get for a first order differential equation. And this is actually the initial number of particles that we started with. You see, when you put t equals to 0, you get this term equals to 1 and n is equal to n naught, the initial number of particles. So graph of this would look something like this. You have the number of particles on the y-axis and the time on the x-axis. So you begin with some initial n naught number of particles, and after some time you get this exponential decay and you never quite get to 0. This is what is known as an exponential curve because it obeys an exponential behavior. Empowered with knowledge, we can proceed to find the solution to this question. Find the equation of the curve passing through this point, given that the slope of the tangent to the curve, another way of saying dy over dx, at any point x comma y is 2x divided by y squared. So what we are given is dy over dx is equal to 2x divided by y squared. This is a variable separable equation, and we have y squared dy is equal to 2x dx. Integrating, we get y cubed divided by 3 is equal to x squared plus c, one constant of integration. Now this solution represents a family of curves, and amongst all of these curves, this is a general solution. Amongst all of these curves, we need to find the one that happens to pass through this given point, minus 2, 3. So how do we do that? Well, we need to find the value of this constant c, which makes the equation pass through that point. So this means that this curve should satisfy the point minus 2, 3. That means x is equal to minus 2 and y is equal to 3. When x is minus 2, y is 3. So we have to substitute these values so that we have 3 cubed divided by 3 is equal to minus 2 squared plus c. We can simplify this. We have 9 is equal to 4 plus c, which gives c is equal to 5. So our particular solution, remember this was the general solution, our particular solution is y cubed divided by 3 is equal to x squared plus 5. And this is the curve, the one family member that passes through minus 2, 3. And now for reference, we will try to plot this curve and see what we have. So we had y cubed divided by 3 is equal to x squared plus a constant. And we will add the slider c, and see this is our family of curves. Varying c gives us different shapes that are somewhat similar. Now we want, out of all of these family members, the one that passes through minus 2, 3. So let's just add this minus 2, 3 point, and yes, we will want to label it. So this is the minus 2, 3 point, and you can see that this passes through this minus 2, 3 point right when c is equal to 5. You see? Yeah, our answer is right. C is equal to 5.